Chris Golden. I'm facilitator for the day. Thank you to our judges for being here today, volunteering their time. I'd like to welcome Mark Whitley from AMCO, Kelly House from Scotiabank, Jane Button from Scotiabank, from Saskatchewan Roughriders, Ron Stiles from SaskCal, and Mohammed Torzishi from the U of S. Competitors, you have a maximum of 20 minutes to present today. Immediately following the presentations, judges will have a total of 5 minutes to question the presenters. I will be keeping a time for you today, and I'll be showing time cards throughout the presentation and through the question period. There's no questions, comments, cell phone, or picture taking from the audience at any time. Please ensure that your cell phones are on vibrate or silent. The audience, please hold your applause until the end of the question period. We ask that the audience leave immediately following the question period. This allows our judges to do their scorecards. And competitors, just give me 1 minute. And are you Team C?
Good morning, Mr. Gregor, Mr. Smith, and Mr. Jones. We're excited to present to you a unique solution that will not only get your customers, both potential and current valued, excited about your business, but also get the people that you're purchasing the company from excited about the opportunity. We want to establish a connection between yourselves and the sellers. We're offering them a royalty compensation plan, something that's going to benefit them beyond their initial payout. We want to offer them a value of $622,000 that we think could be attained by their investment in the company, but via their investment in making sure that sales are maintained. It's through this connection that we will be able to achieve excellence in the future prosperity of your business. We are Prestige Consulting. My name is Imogen. With me today is Chris and Justin. This is our agenda for the day. We're going to go through and tell you about our recommendation about the royalty compensation plan and refinements on your implementation plan and how to maintain that growth strategy. And so feel free to follow along with the agenda as we proceed. So we've identified 3 main issues for you today. The critical being funding this acquisition or this purchase of the company. So you need to be able to find the correct amount of funding in order to pursue this growth strategy. So that's why we've identified it as being critical. Following that, also very important, is developing a growth strategy and providing unique opportunities in order to maintain your current customers, but also in the interest of potential customers that might be interested in your competitors, which offer a very similar business model. And finally, we want to address the internal efficiencies, your questions about how should we address SEO marketing and about hiring the IT intern.
So starting with our external analysis today, we wanted to start by just mentioning some of the opportunities that you had brought forward to us. So acquisition and appraisal, you had mentioned both that acquisition business has the potential to double in the next 3 years. We want to make sure that we're focusing on that growth going forward. And then as well, the appraisal business is also forecasted that with a little bit more, either another person, working to help get more appraisals or potentially managing your time a little bit better, we see the opportunity to potentially triple this line of the business as well. The largest threat that we've seen is definitely your competition. Now we know that this is a market that already has some big players in the field, and you mentioned Ritchie Brothers is a competitor that has 60% of the market share. So we're aware that with this large player in the field, it's very likely that we see some consolidation within the industry. So we want to make sure that we're aware of this and that we are continuing to grow to ensure that we're not being eliminated by this competition early on. And then finally, the industry trend. It's no surprise here, in a lot of different industries right now, we're seeing technological advancements change how we do business. With this industry, it's no different. We're seeing that influence as auctions start to be offered online with anything from eBay to varied sites that are more tailored to specific markets such as your own. And so we want to make sure that we're finding a way to adapt to this current market trend, as we are very confident that there's no, or that we're going to see this going into the future as well. So our internal analysis for you today. Very exciting thing about your business that you're looking to acquire is that there's a lot of strengths that they already have within their organization. One of the two we wanted to mention today is the brand and then the flexibility of your company. So the brand is extremely important, as you've addressed that you have very loyal customer base. The customers that are coming to you are continuously choosing you again and again. So this tells us that you do have something to offer the customers specific, that they prefer you over your competition. Now this moves us into the flexibility. We see that you're able to, because of your size and because of your personal connections you've made with your repeating customers, you've been able to tailor your specifics, or tailor to their specifics that they need, which makes you extremely flexible and provides you with a unique selling proposition. The greatest weakness that we've seen with the industry you're looking, or the company that you are looking to acquire today, is that there are some inefficiencies. Now these are rather minor, but we think that they need to be addressed as well. One of the big things that we've noticed is that you're only able to get 1 or 2 appraisals done in the day on the appraisal side of the industry. So there's definitely opportunities there to become maybe more efficient with our travel time. The constraints that we've seen today is that you do require the commissions for an auction to be around $100,000 or greater to see the value in holding this auction. Now this is actually a very exciting constraint to have, because as we see those trends head towards online auctions, we're going to see, we'll still have those constraints, as we're always going to have those auctions, but we're going to see less pressure put on those constraints as we start to see smaller auctions that can be done online without requiring the same amount of capital to put forward. And then of course our financial, we've seen that you have a current ratio of 1.5, which tells us that you have more liquid assets than you have liability, which means low risk to invest in this company. So we just wanted to quickly go over our decision criteria today. We wanted to make sure that you're optimizing your current financial position. We want to make sure that your position positions Borealis investment against the market downturn. We want to make sure that we're providing the best return for current Borealis shareholders, the current owners of the company. And we want to make sure that we're fostering long-term connections with customers and current management. So moving into our first alternative. This is the alternative you brought forward to us, and you did mention to your partners that acquiring debt from the bank would be essential to purchasing this business. Now, while we do understand that this is a very viable option, we believe there are some other alternatives that may be better suited for this company. So as you can see, the first option, to acquire funding through bank loan, the pros that we found is that it could offer you the full asking price. There won't be any issues with negotiations. You'll be able to offer them that full $500,000 to acquire the business. Now, while that is appealing currently to the current owners, we do see that the negatives to this for you, of course, you'll be acquiring debt from the bank, and furthermore, your personal assets could be at risk, as you may need to leverage those to get the bank, or to leverage those to get your loan from the bank. So the second alternative we looked at, you had mentioned that you do have some friends and family that may be able to invest some of their money into the business as well. Now, we understand that this would allow you to be a little more flexible in the bank, as these are personal relationships. However, we understand that that does put a little bit of a tense situation on your current relationships, your current family and friend relationships. And we want to make sure that you're not putting your family and friends at risk as well. And finally, our third alternative. Now, we're really excited to present this to you today. We want to look at the option to offer royalty compensation plan. Now, the big benefits to this is that we know there would not be a requirement to take out a loan. So what we were looking at, between the 3 investors, you guys have said that you have about $195,000. So without the need to take out a loan, if you were to offer a royalty plan to the current owners, this establishes that they'll still be. We'll get into further details with this in our recommendation. And the cons that we found as well with this is poor performance could affect their earnings. So if you were to offer a royalty plan and fail to receive the earnings that you're looking to get in your next couple of years, it would be negatively impacted. Now, although that is a con, we believe that this actually gives them a greater opportunity to stay involved in a small part in your business, which is extremely essential, as we believe that their connections and their networks are going to be absolutely viable to ensuring that this business is able to continue to grow in the next couple of years.
So we have some financial projections on what this will look like. If we take a 2% royalty, so that means each shareholder would, of the two existing left, would get 1% over the first 3 years. And then we're going to take it to assume that the profitability will be good. Their contribution to the business will be profitable and help impact the growth of your company. And so we're going to say that after 3 years, by 2019, we're going to move to 3% of revenue royalty. So we'll have the number, we'll have the exact totals here. But as you can see, this revenue projection is rather modest, especially in the first couple of years. And we think that with our added value, innovation, and creation for your customers, we could potentially even increase the revenues slightly, maybe by even just 100,000 from 2018 on. So the incentive here to move from the 2% to 3%, it would be negotiated in the contract when you do purchase the company from the current owners, and we would look at how much revenue do you need to create. Even if we do only stay within the area of wanting to keep it at a 2% royalty, they're still going to get $522,000 instead of just the $500,000. So there is an added bonus for them if they stay with the company and ensure its continued profitability. So in total, having that 2% moving to 3% for 2019 and 2020, we're looking at getting $617,000. So that's approximately $308,000 for them versus the $250,000 that they would get outright. So considering this against maybe putting it in a savings account or a risky investment in stock options, we think this is a very lucrative offer. Also, it emphasizes the fact that they are connected to this business, they believe in it, and they already are committed to staying with you, even if you don't offer them this royalty projection. We think this is a very lucrative offer for the current owners. So our recommendation, aside from the royalty compensation plan, we'd also like to look at ways that we can improve on the internal efficiencies and also create value for your customers. Because right now, against your competitors, you don't offer much in terms of cost leadership. What you do offer that is essential to your business is a sense of value creation for your customers. You do extra services if they need to store their machinery for a couple of extra days. You're flexible in the way that you take on their business, and this is essential. Part of the main point of this industry is that people like to do business with the people that they enjoy working with, and you've already established those connections. Now you need to make sure that you're advertising those current established business connections to new customers and finding ways to also retain the ones that you do have. So we already have your current owners here. They're willing to introduce you to their customers and make sure that they're connected in that way. But we have some extra exciting ideas that could keep them there and create extra value for them. So first off, we'd like, as we mentioned, we'd like to introduce the online auctions and make sure technology is streamlined. Say the website needs to be more easy to use, more accessible. We'll look at ways to improve that for them. So we'd like to have the ease of use. If we need to maintain their needs, if they can't get their machinery to the auctions, that's how we implement their needs through online auctions. We also have seen this idea implemented in similar industries. So when you have a celebrity meet and greet, say you want to really establish yourself in the Saskatchewan market as it is prosperous and in a market of farming equipment that you want to enter. We project that for between $20,000 and $30,000, you could create a marketing effort. It's a special meet and greet, say with a local celebrity, Ron Lancaster from the Saskatchewan Rough Riders, and you could use them to just do a simple meet and greet, sign some posters, take some photos. This is a great way to establish value for your high-value customers. So this is a private event where they come and they can view maybe machinery 2 or 3 days before an auction, meet the celebrity, and just have some beverages and food, really enjoy the experience. This is how you create true customer value for your more established customers. And it also creates excitement for potential customers looking at what does this company do differently from their competitors. So we also mentioned that we'd like to look at internal efficiencies, and we think that you've laid out a great plan for addressing this. So we would just go along with the recommendation to say hire an intern for your IT department to make sure it's refined. And also maybe you could use interns and pay them at a smaller price if you want to say hire university students to create a new sort of sales team. Because part of your internal efficiencies is that with this growth, you will have to address needs of maybe adding a few more employees into your operation. We'd also like to have appraisal optimization, which we'll get into via our implementation.
Now, just giving you a quick overview of what our implementation plan will look like. As you can see in the current year, this is where you're going to be learning the business as you get into this from the current owners, understanding the operations and how things work, and creating those connections with their current contacts, optimizing those efficiencies, getting that those appraisals more efficient, having your time spent not traveling but actually doing those appraisals and getting more money in, as well as implementing that online auction. The sooner you do that, the more customers you're being able to capture, and it'll help not only capture those customers but protect you from the Ritchie brothers and potential competitors outside of that. 1 to 2 years, this is where you could be entering new regions such as Saskatchewan and other provinces, as well as taking a business away from those competitors, going where those competitors aren't and getting those customers before they get there. And finally, 2+ years beyond that would be possibly looking at going public or acquiring competitors or selling to Ritchie brothers, depending on your personal goals, where you see you'd like to be beyond that. So for the immediate, what we would like your organization to do right now, as we did state, is to learn those current business operations. You have those owners with a ton of experience. They're now invested even more so into this company because of the royalty compensation plan. They're going to want to help you out. They're going to want to see this organization succeed as they are invested in this for a few more years, and building those relationships with those previous contacts through those owners. We begin building that online auction now. This is not going to happen overnight. You're going to need to begin building this now. We do realize that it is going to cost about $150,000, and this is where we would look at using that revolving line of credit that Borealis Auction has, as well as any remaining equity that you would have going into this to pay for that $150,000. And further is optimizing that appraisal and efficiencies. So how this would work is based on regions. So say a 50-kilometer radius, you have 3 or 4 appraisals that can be done. Schedule those appraisals in the same day, so you're traveling within that 50-kilometer radius. You can get all those appraisals done. So perhaps Monday you have 3 or 4 in one region. Tuesday you go to a different region, do 3 or 4 more appraisals. As well, potentially seeing if this is working for your company. If it's not, you can look at hiring another manager to do more appraisals in different regions in different days of the week as well. Advertising in magazines, getting those customers in there, getting your name out there, and targeting the Saskatchewan region as we did state previously. In the short term, 6 to 12 months, this is where we'll be releasing the online auction. You want to get it out there quickly, but you do want to take that 6 months to make sure that it's functional and make sure that it's going to work with the customer needs. And hiring an intern to pursue that search engine optimization. Now this is going to be going along with that online auction. You don't want to do that before, as you won't have that online aspect there. So doing it in tangent, or yes, with the online auction, you'll be able to get your name out there and get that search engine optimization, so when people are looking up YouTube or Google videos, they're going to be seeing your online auction there and they're going to want to go there. As well as loyalty events, as Imogene did mention. So getting those celebrities in there, building that loyalty with your current customers and creating buzz with new customers. And Larry and Jerry, building that Saskatchewan connection. So going on the road, seeing the customers that you can in Saskatchewan, building those connections so that you can move to potentially off-site regions. In the long term, 1 to 2+ years, This is where you're going to be analyzing those biggest regions in the online auctions, and you can either acquire some small auction facilities in those most successful regions, or look at offsite auctions if that's outside of your scope and you're not able to afford that. As well, 3 to 5 years out, this is where you can review your financial and market position, review your personal goals, and see if you'd rather go public or if you want to sell to Ritchie Brothers. That's all dependent on you, but we do believe that we're setting you up in a very strong financial and market position 3 to 5 years down the line, where you'll have those two options to make that decision for yourself. Quickly going over some risk and analysis. The risk of owners rejecting the royalty compensation plan. We don't see this as happening. It's very low risk, as this is a very lucrative offer for them. They're going to want to go for this 1% royalty, moving to 1.5% royalty. However, if they do reject it, you can consider that bank loan alternative. Online auctions unsuccessful. You could focus on marketing on those untapped Canadian regions, as we mentioned before. And if Ritchie Brothers does take over that market share, this is where you could maintain that value creation for your customers and make sure you're maintaining those customers you currently have.
So we believe in your ability to take on this company and work with the connection of its current owners to establish immense profitability for the both of you. We've offered you a much more lucrative offer than just being able to pay them out $500,000 and that be the limit of their profitability. We think you can grow together, really establish yourself against competitors, and put yourself in a financial position where you can achieve those goals. You can decide at the time in 5 to 7 years whether you want to be acquired, go public, or take your business even further by acquiring competitors. We're Prestige Consulting. We're very excited to have presented to you today, and we'd now like to open the floor to questions.
In your royalty compensation plan, I noticed that the 2 and 3% was based on revenues. And so there's a risk that you bring in new business that's unprofitable. I'm curious as to why the percentage wasn't based on profitability as opposed to revenue.
We based it based on revenue, as seeing with the net income and the profitability, it wouldn't be a big incentive for the current owners to go ahead with that. However, attaching it to the revenue and seeing the projections which you yourselves laid out, as well as projections we did ourselves, that basing it on the revenue, it is far more attractive for the current owners to go with the 1 to 2% based on the revenue.
Okay. How do you mitigate the risk, though, that the former owners drive revenue but not profitability?
We looked at, with the internal efficiencies, addressing those. We're going to work together, both you yourself as a new owner and with them, to reduce the costs. As you mentioned, you could also almost reduce that one line item in the liabilities that you mentioned, could potentially be reduced. So we'd like to look at ways to reduce costs, but have them driving the sales, which is what they're best at.
So the current owners are not doing very well according to these numbers. Revenues are decreasing. Why would you want to pay them extra to keep them? Is there any other alternatives?
The flexibility, sorry to cut you off, the flexibility is there to go for the bank loan should they not. But we took a 3 times net income to do a valuation, and we found that under that valuation you would have them at $540,000. So someone else could step in and potentially ask to purchase their business as well. We don't see them as too loyal to you, and so we think that by offering them both this compensation plan, that they're motivated. Also, they're motivated to stay and make sure that your clients stay with your business. This is different than just paying them outright, and then their involvement might be more minimal if we go with that option. As for the declining revenues, we think we can attain this with our growth strategy, really making sure you pay attention to marketing and targeting at current customers and also new potential customers.
This plan depends on current owners' efficiency. And assuming they will have enough incentive and they will be efficient enough in your gross plan. Right.
Just to add to that a little bit, I think what we're looking to see with the current owners is that we want to make sure that we're really fostering their current relationships and growing those relationships further. We understand that they have seen a little bit of a stagnant period with their industry, with their company currently, and that's why we believe we can come in with our marketing strategy and make those shifts. But we think it's very important that we continue to utilize their relationships in the market to make sure that our established customers who are extremely loyal are able to continue with us and not to a new organization.
So although I'm biased to Saskatchewan. I noticed a couple times in your presentation you mentioned targeting Saskatchewan, and this is an Ontario company, and you've noted some inefficiencies already in their business. Can you describe for me why Saskatchewan and how you plan to do that? Because I mean, it's a
The reason we wanted to mention Saskatchewan is because Saskatchewan is a great opportunity for an industry such as this. We know that there's a lot of agriculture in Saskatchewan market. Furthermore, we know that Saskatchewan has two very large cities that a lot of the business is being done between Regina and Saskatoon. So we think that compared to Ontario, where we do have a lot of relationships already, it's a very widespread province with a lot of cities. So we think focusing on an area like Saskatchewan will be a great opportunity to continue to grow the relationships that they already have.
Thank you to the CEF.